Welcome to Fixed Sewing Machines Institute. Today we want to discuss the classifying or grouping of sewing machines by their different types. In our last video we discussed the sewing machines in terms of the stitches that they form. In this video we want to discuss the power systems, or what drives the sewing machine. We're going to find that originally the sewing machine had a hand crank, and then it developed a foot control system, and then it moved on to the electric motor and of an AC type, and then today more modern machines use a DC or pulse motor to drive the machines. And we'll look at the different types together. There are four basic types of power or drive systems for sewing machines. The oldest is the hand crank, then the treadle, the AC motor, and the DC motor. Right now we want to take a look at the hand crank sewing machine. Today I'm going to share with you a hand crank machine produced by the Jones Company, which is produced around 1885. This machine has a hand crank that makes it very convenient to sew. However, when you use a hand crank system, you really can only use one hand to do the manipulation with the fabric and for the sewing. And that became a problem which would be addressed later. The hand crank is locked in position, and we simply move it down, lock it in position. And as you can see, you can move it either way. If you move it this way, the machine will drive the feed dogs backwards. And if you go the other way, you will pull them forwards. Just take a piece of fabric here, and we'll do a little bit of sewing. It's really very easy. The original hand crank machine produced by Elias Howe was able to do 250 stitches per minute, which was equivalent to 5 expert hand sewers, and the difference was that the machine didn't get tired. Foot power enabled the sewer to sew with both hands while moving the machine with their feet. Some of these were using a pivot platform like you see here, while others used a pedal that looks more like a bicycle pedal. In any case, one of the real challenges was maintaining a proper rhythm, because if you aren't careful, the machine will start sewing backwards with you. The treadle was a real major advancement in the sewing machine power system. Here are some of the typical parts of the treadle sewing machine. Next, we have the AC motor driven sewing machines. Actually, there are two types here. One is the externally mounted AC motor, as you see on the left, and the internally mounted motor, as you see on the right. There are many varieties of these AC motors, but essentially they are alternating current motors that drive belts to move the upper shaft and move the rest of the mechanism to create the stitches. Many different configurations of the AC motor can be found in sewing machines, running from externally mounted to internally mounted, bayonets, boxy looking motors. The DC motor is the next drive system. And you may have one DC motor, or you may have a dozen of them, or half a dozen of them in the sewing machine. The DC motor uses direct current and converts the AC household current to the direct current, and then uses it for many different purposes inside the sewing machine, achieving a smoother, quieter, more dependable, and better controlled sewing machine operation. As you can see in this picture, there are pulse motors that control the tension, the movement of the overall machine, the movement of a variety of different features in the machine, and all of these are controlled by the circuit boards and the computer built into the sewing machine. And so there you have it. The power drive system, including the hand crank, the treadle, the AC motor drives, and the DC motor drives.